Hi, and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this is episode 1764, and today's date is January 13th, 2019, and the title of the episode is The Call is Being Heard. It started with this tweet. Now, before I get started, I wanted to talk about Trump. You might have heard in the news that President Trump is withdrawing 2,000 of our boys and girls out of Syria. Just a while ago, he took an 11-hour flight in darkness and total secrecy to go out to Iraq with First Lady to visit the troops there. He said, "We're no longer the sucker, folks," was his storming declaration. With President Trump, you get what you see, and that's what we love about him. He delivers. So does Noble Gold. They put together this stunning solid silver coin to underline that great job he's doing, with highlights of his achievement to date and a portrait on the front. Any Trump supporter would be crazy about one of these. Go to TrumpCoin2020.com and use the code X22 to get free shipping. This is a $6.50 savings. Let's get into the economic collapse financial news. Now, we are starting to see the beginning stages of a movement to get rid of the central bank, a movement to get rid of the IRS, a movement to get rid of the globalist central banking system. And we're starting to see this in the UK, in France, in the United States, Italy, and many other parts of the world. Now, we understand that Trump has Andrew Jackson hanging on his wall. How many more times can I say that? Probably a lot more. His entire mission, and this is going back to a tweet back in 2011, is to get rid of the central bank. And we're going to be talking about that in just a minute. But I wanted to start off with the Brexit. Theresa May looks like she is pushing as hard as she possibly can to get this central bank deal passed. Now, I don't think it's going to happen, but you can see the central bank, they're going to be pushing fear to try to get as many people on board with what they want to do. And we see automakers out there. They're taking precautions because they hear the chatter and they're becoming scared. Honda, the fourth largest car producer in the UK, has unveiled plans to halt its UK production for the first 6 days of April in order to stockpile parts just in case of this deal, of what will happen afterwards. Now, it's not the only automaker. There are others. There's Toyota, there's BMW, there's the Aston Martin, and many others. Now, again, they're looking at this saying, automobile manufacturing, trade, everything might go down the tubes after this deal happens, if it does at all. It might be a no-deal Brexit. And Theresa May might not even exist after this. But we have to remember, declining sales are not unique to the UK right now. Has nothing to do with the Brexit. Car registrations in China, throughout Europe and Germany, they're all declining. Here in the United States, we're seeing the same exact thing. Global growth is slowing right now. Of course, they're trying to make it seem like it's all the Brexit, it's all the UK, but it really isn't. And we see they're pushing as hard as they possibly can to try to get this central bank deal through. Now, we can see that globalism around the world, well, people are starting to catch on. It started off with Trump, got rid of the TPP, got rid of NAFTA, didn't like the World Trade Organization, actually spoke out against globalism. And Germany and France, they understand that globalism is dying. So what are they doing to keep it alive? Well, it looks like Germany and France, they are set to forge a pact aligning their defense, diplomatic and economic policies in an unprecedented twinning pact, regarded as prototype for the future of the European Union. Angela Merkel and Macron, they will sign a treaty later this month, which will govern a coordinated diplomatic front as well as a joint actions of peacekeeping missions. What's more, areas on both sides of the Franco-German border will be encouraged to establish Euro districts in which both countries would merge water, electricity, public transport networks. The two countries will hold regular consultations on all levels before major European meetings and take care to establish common positions and issues with joint statements. They're trying to do what they were going to do from the very beginning. Merge everything into one government. That's why they created the EU. That's why you see unelected leaders controlling the EU. They see globalism dying. They see everything about to change. Their economy. This is not what they planned on. So they're trying to save it with this. Now we know that Macron, he has his own problems with the yellow vests. And right now there are reports coming in that the banks are not allowing individuals to withdraw their money. ATMs supposedly have glitches where they can't withdraw any money. And of course, this was all planned. We knew that they weren't going to allow this. And what do we see happening here right now? We see a gigantic movement around the world. The globalists, the elite, the central bankers don't like this. I'm sure the Rothschilds, they're kind of panicking right now because remember, if we go back, we talked about the central bank's independence and how they were very nervous about that governments might take over the central bank and they might lose their independence. Remember, they don't want anyone telling them what to do, and they definitely do not want to be taken over. So I'm sure the Rothschilds are like, okay, we see what's happening here. We need this to stop. And remember, they always like to be in control. Now, here in the United States, we're starting to see bills being introduced. Now, does this mean they're going to pass? No. But this is the very beginning of a movement. The latest bill, H.R. 25, to promote freedom, fairness, and economic opportunity by repealing the income tax and other taxes, abolishing the Internal Revenue Service, and enacting a national sales tax to be administered primarily by the states. Now, this was introduced on January 3rd. Mr. Woodall, and there are many other individuals that are behind this. And we have to remember Thomas Massie also introduced the audit the Fed bill. All of this is hitting at once. Now, does it mean that these bills are going to be passed right now? Most likely not. But what that means is people are thinking about it. People are saying, you know something? It's time to get rid of this. And do I think this is a coincidence that this is happening now? No, I do not. I believe people are hearing the call. I believe there are certain individuals that are pushing this and having these bills just wait there for a specific point in time to be used at that time when they are needed. I mean, if we go back to 2011, Trump was broadcasting the plan back then. He said on December 28th, 2011, the Fed's reckless monetary policies will cause problems in the years to come. The Fed has to be reined in or we will soon be Greece. So back then, Trump was already pointing the finger at the Fed. Today, what is he doing? As president, he's contradicting the Fed and pointing the finger at the Fed. This has been part of the plan all along. This is nothing new. It's not like they just decided to do this. They knew that they were going to do this for a very long time. And they put the plan into motion. Remember, Trump tried to run for presidency. The first time, didn't happen. This time, it did happen. And now their plans that they've been laying out for a very long time, they can put these into motion. And that's what we're seeing right now. It's not just about arresting people. It's about shutting down the globalist central bank system, the deep state system, everywhere. Think about what is happening right now. Think about the Middle East. That was the source of their power. Remember, everything is hooked to the petrodollar, where they controlled the Middle East, where they were telling the countries to sell the oil using the dollar. Now, and their mission was to go into Syria and control the entire area and then split it up. Their mission right now failed. Iraq, Libya, Lebanon, Syria, they're taking back their countries. Troops are going to be moving out of these countries. We already see it in Syria. The same thing's going to be happening in Afghanistan. Everything the deep state, the central bankers have set up is now coming to an end. which means their funding and everything that they've been working for will be coming to an end. Because once these countries stop using the dollar and stop keeping them in their reserves, the dollars float back to the United States. Remember, this is not the people's money. This is the central bank's currency. And when it flows back, yes, we're going to see inflation. Yes, we're going to see problems. But again, Trump and the Patriots, they have a plan. Because when you see inflation and when you see a huge amount of currency that was created over time, because nobody was controlling it, nobody was checking on it, nobody could audit the Fed, when it flows all back here to the United States, we will see inflation. What do you do to counter that? What do you do when everything that you're holding, all these dollars that you're holding that you have in the bank, what counters excessive money printing and all the money coming back here in the United States? Gold. Because think about it. The value of the dollar will continually decrease. That's what inflation is. Because you have a lot more dollars, that means it takes a lot more dollars to buy the same exact item because there's just too much currency in the system. They tried to hide it over the many, many years. And they pushed it off into different countries. But now, it's all turning on them. And when it comes back here, gold is the weapon that they will use to protect the people. And to protect yourself, you should have some type of precious metal. Silver, junk silver, gold. To protect your wealth, because we can see other countries, they already know what's happening. They already know that this is going to happen. China knows, Russia knows, India, many of the other countries out there that have been repatriating or purchasing a lot of gold. Q has already told us that gold will bring down the central bank system. And you can see there are countries that were pushing the globalist agenda. They're very worried now. Look at France and Germany trying to combine everything, trying to become as one. All these globalists, all the elite, all the central banks, they're panicking right now. They're in a deep panic because they don't know what to do. Everything they had planned is coming to an end. The Rothschilds are probably panicking right now. They're already taking precautions because they can see the writing on the wall. So if they're taking precautions and ensuring themselves, we should all do the same. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.